Hello, hello. Welcome to today's episode of the. I'm sorry. Let me start over. A little bit distracted here. Welcome to today's episode. Scale Your Mastery. This is the Scale Your Mastery podcast. I'm your host, Tracy D. Malone. And today we're going to get into the distinctions. We're going to have at least four distinctions between someone who has mastered business consulting versus someone who has mastered business coaching. That's our topic for today. So, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe if you find value in today's episode. I recently did a post on LinkedIn, and that post discussed, it was an article, and you know, with articles, you get to do a preamble post as well. But it was an article that mentioned these differences between a coach versus consultant. And I want to get into that today because when we're talking about mastery, I'm talking about mastery as it relates to the business industry. I'm talking about mastery for these service-based providers that I provide services for. So, of course, there's other type of masters. I will use people from time to time as examples because I believe that they are great examples to take a dissected view of the idea of mastery, one of which is Oprah. And so, yeah, I just wanted to uh, mention that. And if you haven't done so, the post uh, is on my LinkedIn. So go ahead and take a look at that. And one of the things that is important is if you're in search of a coach or consultant, is to really understand what they'll be able to do for you, what they can and possibly can't do for you. So the post is picking up traction. There's at least one repost already. If you find value in that post, please go ahead and repost as well. Now, for for YouTube, I've mentioned before that I'm building in public, and this is my version of that. I never thought I would do that, but here I am. So you're going to see me make some bloopers along the way. But then one thing you're going to see too, and I'm really, really excited about this. One thing you're going to see is you're going to see me begin to elevate my craft. All right. So one of the things I did in my entire 25 plus years of getting to this point, one of the things I did, and I had a lot of fun doing it, I couldn't believe I was getting paid to do it. It was that much fun. Is I was a software instructor. I was a software instructor. I taught all of the Microsoft products from entry level to advanced, all the way, every product, Microsoft Access. That's their database product. So I taught all of that. It was a blast. And I couldn't believe I was getting paid for that. So um, that is a skill set, being able to stand up in front of a group and present and take them through a process of learning. This was adult learners, right? This wasn't high schoolers or teenagers or what have you. This was adult learners who needed to learn something so that they could be better at their jobs. And being able to guide them through that process of exploring new ways to look at Excel, new ways to be more productive, new formulas, new techniques, shortcuts. It was a blast and I loved it. So you're going to see that, yes, I may be starting, coming on live for YouTube, but at the same time, I'm grabbing those skills that I've already honed and developed, and I'm making them fresh in a brand new way. So I'm excited about getting to that point, right? And I'm also, I've had experience in doing presentations. I've had experience in doing presentations to small groups and meaning using Microsoft PowerPoint, right? So, and back in the day when I first got started in the business world, I was a secretary, administrative assistant. So I was the one who actually created the PowerPoints for the department heads. I'm just saying all of that to say, wherever you are right now, if there's something you want to do, go ahead and start doing it. Don't care about what it looks like, just take action. So I just want to impress that upon you and encourage you and inspire you to just get going, whatever the thing is. So if you wanted to create a YouTube channel and you were afraid of showing up because you don't want to be laughed at or you cared about what somebody thought, don't care about that. You've got to start where you are. Start where you are right now and forget about everything else. Put the focus on the people you're trying to reach and take the focus off of yourself. Can you believe that at one time I was someone who was afraid of public speaking? I'm not saying that I'm totally over it, but I'm saying I do it scared. I do it anyway. I show up anyway because it's not about me, it's about you. It's about you being able to access what you need so you could be a better version of you. And I'm trying to be a better version of me so we can do that together, okay? We can grow together. And again, today's topic, we're going to talk about coaches versus consultants. All right. So I want to give you one fact, and this may or may not blow your mind depending on uh, your perspective of this industry. But there's 14.1 billion market share right now projected for the coaching industry, for the business coaching industry. I'm not talking about life coaching, but for the business coaching industry, that's the size of the market right now. And it has approximately 80,000 businesses. If you want more details on that and where I get that, go ahead and go over to my LinkedIn article. I mentioned I posted that yesterday. Oh, matter of fact, excuse me for a moment. Just for a moment. Excuse me, just one moment. I forgot that I've got to like my current post, right? There's this thing on LinkedIn, if you don't know, it's about don't post and ghost. So you don't want to post something and then don't show up for it, right? It's like you're having a party and you didn't show up for your own party. I'm not about to do that. I set my post time every day. I go 7 days a week. I post at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I chose this live stream for the same exact time because I figured if you're already tuning in for the post, all you got to do is click on YouTube and you can join me for the live stream at the same time. So, yeah, just the FYI, today's post title is Here's an Iconic Definition of Mastery and Why It Matters. I'll leave that right there. I just wanted to like my post so that I don't post and ghost. Back to the idea of the coaching industry, right? The business coaching industry. By the way, if you're watching a live stream, I just want to appreciate you for a moment. I want to thank you for watching and tuning in. And if you're getting value out of this, I would love for you to share it with someone and also subscribe to the channel. My goal is to reach 50 subscribers ASAP because once I do that, I can go live from my cell phone, which means I'll be able to go live from anywhere, which means I'll be able to bring you more value more often. You'll get a chance to see more behind the scenes of what's happening, and then you get a chance to be a fly on the wall. I'll be able to come and say, hey, I was just thinking about this and I wanted to share it. I love those videos when I see um, creators out there with those entries, introductions to their video. So I want to be that too for you. I want to be someone who's bringing you instant, up to the minute, um, factual information that's valuable. So I want to dissect what some of the at least four distinctions between this group of professionals, coaches versus business consultants. Now, you probably noticed on my profile that I've chosen the designation of business consultant. I made that choice because I felt like it was very descriptive and foretelling of my intentions with my clients. All right. And let's start off by looking at the first distinction. So if you're taking notes, this is number one: focus. That's the first distinction. There's a difference between what a coach is going to focus on versus what a consultant is going to focus on. All right. Business coaches are said to focus on personal and professional development, right? That's what they are said to focus on: personal and professional development. As a consultant in the area of focus, they will focus on solving specific business problems, right? Now that's huge. That's huge. That is a great distinction and is something for you to consider. Again, we're looking at four key distinctions that allow you to see the mastery level of each of these two professionals: coach versus consultant. Mastery level exists in both areas. When you choose one, it lines up with the mastery for that one. And you choose the other, the same thing applies, right? So that now let's say that hmm, it could be that maybe you're torn between the two. Could be you're torn between the two. So maybe you actually are not sure which one you would need. Then probably what you need to do is you need to take a look at their offer. You need to take a look at, I'm talking about LinkedIn here, so I'm not referring to other platforms. But you need to look at what they're offering on their LinkedIn profile. How are they going to serve you? I want to thank someone for showing up. I'm not sure who you are, but I see a number one. I want to thank you for joining me live. And again, I'm still learning this. This is me building in public for YouTube. And right now, I'm just in front of my Mac, and I'm not really sure of how to find the viewers or the live attendees yet. But I will get there. So stay with me. I will get there, right? But yeah, it's very important for you to have an idea of what outcome you're expecting. Do you really have a personal professional development issue, or do you really need a specific problem solved in your business? That's really important to know. The second of the four distinctions is approach. I mean, they're all important. They're all important, but I got to tell you, the approach to me, it matters a lot. What is that approach? It matters a ton, right? So the business coach is going to take a holistic and personalized approach, right? Whereas the business consultant, is going to take an analytical and data driven approach. Now, I want to tell you a story about each one of these. So, when I was first starting out, I put myself through this rigorous checklist of things that I wanted to do to make sure that I was on the right path of choosing this profession as my next step, right? So, one of the things I did is I went to an ET event, Eric Thomas event, a virtual event, and I connected with a lot of great people there. And I met one person named Tony, right? So Tony and we ended up on a call, a virtual like Zoom. We ended up on the Zoom, and I offered my service to her to see if I could help her. So I did that for people for free initially, just to make sure that I was on the right path of choosing this career as my next step. So I had this wonderful talk with Tony. We were laughing and we were also crying, right? Because it was real. It was so real. When I'm in that one-on-one, I'm really doing my best to tap into the needs of that other person. What do they need? So what comes out of me is inspiration, motivation, some education. All of that starts flowing out because my goal at that moment is to be the giver so that they can receive what they need to move on to their next step. So that conversation with Tony, I still remember it. I remember at one point she was crying. She was expressing that she felt like a release had just happened for her. She felt more free because she was really bogged down with what she was going to do as her next step in her business to achieve her goals that she had envisioned for herself, right? And so out of that, Tony came up with a name for me. She was like, you know, talking with you is like going to business therapy. So I just want you to know that whatever that gift is, I call it mastery because it's at a high level. Whatever your mastery is, and you show up and you allow that to be a gateway for someone else to achieve their goal or their dream, what's going to happen is people are going to relate to you, right? And they're going to feel the experience. And so, in this idea that coaches have this distinction, this is their approach. So, let me give you an example for the approach of a consultant, right? I talked about the approach of a consultant is analytical and data driven, right? So, I want to give you a story about that as well. So, I mentioned that I took myself through this rigorous set of challenges uh, as I began to explore, am I really going to do this? Is it the right move? So, one of the things I did, I was actually in preparation prior to me saying I was a business consultant. I had been in preparation over a year to segue back into corporate America as a business consultant. I felt like that's something I could do because I realized I had a lot of success in that area. And you heard me talk about uh, what happened with L'Oreal and SoftSheen. If you missed that, I did do a live about that a day or two ago. But also, I did happen to do an article about it on my experience with that whole process. It's on LinkedIn, so if you want to check that out, it's something called like the elephant in the room. So yeah, you can read that and find out more details about my experience in solving that L'Oreal problem. So again, what I did is I said, you know what, I can do this. So I prepared for about a year to segue back to corporate. And that preparation involved me taking certification courses that someone who would have the title of business consultant should be able to pass those exams. That was my logical thinking process. And guess what? It came to pass that, yes, I did pass the exams. And I want to share with you that it was no small feat. But for me, because I had developed mastery, it came easy. So one of the exams that I took was a project management professional, PMP. The PMP is an organization, and they created a lot of the framework related to the profession of project managers, and they're an internationally recognized organization, and they have a big book of learning, book of knowledge that's about this thick. It's like the yellow pages back in the day. It's really thick. And so I had gone to a 5-day course where it was instructor led to, really prepare to take the exam. The classroom was full. I imagine there was at least like 30 to 40 people in his classroom. And these are all business professionals. Many of them had already had a job. They had a job, an existing job in corporate America, and they had project management in their title. And I was in a room with some really big shots, right? Here I am trying to segue into the industry, and they were already on the jobs, 5, 10, 15 years, and they were showing up to be able to take this exam. We had to go through the 5-day course first. It was a prep, right? So, guess what happened though? I ended up at the end of that 5-day course, and I put myself into a study group so that I can, glean as much as possible from people who were more experienced than me, right? They were already earning salaries and already had the titles. And I just felt like this may be a good opportunity for me to learn from them so I can make sure I pass this exam. It was maybe about five of us, myself and maybe five other people. Long story short, is I was the only one who passed the exam out of that study group. And I believe you had two chances to take it. Everybody who took it failed twice. Some people gave up on it. Some people said they're going to try again at a later date. I was the only one from the study group that passed. As a matter of fact, I, I may have been the only one out of that class of 30 to 40 some people that passed the exam. Because you got to remember, at the location where we took the course, they were also the exam provider. Like you had to go pass an exam there before you can go sit for the actual exam that PMP proctored. Okay. I say all of that to say that you can have mastery in an area sometimes and not even know that you have it, right? So we just talked about those two distinctions between a coach and a consultant and their approach. And hopefully you can see that I've been able to do both sides of coaching and consultant with the examples I gave. Those are just some examples. Now, the next one of the four distinctions we're going to talk about is relationship, right? This is huge for a lot of people right now. All the buzz on LinkedIn is really about creating relationships. And I totally agree with that. So when it comes to coaching, part of their mastery is being able to build long-term supportive relationships. And for the consultant, as far as relationships, what they're doing is they're working on a specific projects with timelines, right? That's the key difference. Working on specific projects with timelines. So, which one of those is important to you for the goal that you're trying to accomplish in your business? Which one of those is important? I believe it's very necessary for you to dissect the actual problem and the way in which you want to get there with the solution. It's going to matter a lot because depending on how you view your perspective, you'll choose one over the other. You'll either choose the coach or the consultant. But the good news is sometimes you don't have to choose. Sometimes you can get one person who actually can operate in both lanes. I happen to be one of those people, right? So the fourth distinction we're going to talk about is skills. Now, if you're just tuning in, remember the distinctions we're discussing are the mastery levels for coach versus consultant. The first one was focus, the second was approach, the third was relationship, and this fourth one is skills. So for coach, the skill is emphasizing soft skills, communication, emotional intelligence, and accountability, right? And for the consultant, the skills that they've mastered are analytical problem solving and technical skills. So that's the distinction between the two. And again, the really cool thing is, can you find someone who have mastered the coaching and the consulting sides so that you get both in one individual, right? I want to share with you a dirty little secret of the coaching industry. And this is what I think causes a lot of problems with the perspective that some people have of the industry. A lot of coaches will take what they learned from another coach, package it up, and present it and sell it to you as if they crafted it. So, this is called mimicking. There's a lot of mimicking going on in the coaching industry. And I believe this is really at the root of the problem that causes the business coaching industry to get a negative connotation. I really believe that that's at the heart of it. There are people who will come into the industry, their number one goal is to make money. It's not about helping people. It's not about being able to show off their mastery. It's not about using their mastery to empower others. It's the idea of making quick money, right? So that really is a problem. And hopefully, I'll be able to share some things with you that you'll be able to discern when you're making your selection. And I was just yesterday having a conversation with another coach. And you know what? He shared the story, and I want to share it with you. He said that he was doing like a strategy session, one of those free type strategy sessions with someone. And he said that this person kept coming back over and over. Like they wouldn't become a client, but they kept coming back to this strategy session over and over. And I don't know, maybe they booked 4 or 5 of those. But he said, then something happened. He said he noticed that they were on their social page and they were sharing the exact same information and advice that he had given them. And it was very noticeable to him because they actually used a word that he crafted as a description. How we create words, just like I've got the you know break free strategy session or what have you. He said that he had created a word and then they spelled the word wrong, and they came back to him to ask him how to spell the word, something to that effect. But basically, then they came back again and again and again, and then he finally had to say to them, look, you've got to become a paying customer. Like, you got to become a paying client. There's no more free sessions, because those free sessions, that person was taking that information, right? And they were presenting that in public as if they were the ones creating it and providing it, as if they knew what they were doing. Unfortunately, it does happen in the industry. Can you imagine that happening in any other profession, like a dentist or a doctor? Like, you need to be someone who actually can help people, and you need to be someone who has mastered what you're doing. I think that's very important. So for me, I didn't I didn't tread lightly to get here, right? I made sure that I had mastery in this area before I even, you know, put up a banner or a business card that had business consultant on it. I think it's very, very important. So I want to ask you, if you were given a choice, would you rather learn from the originator or the imitator? Would you learn from the originator or the imitator? So start asking, if you're considering hiring someone, start asking them, tell me more about your framework. Did you create that? And what is it based on? Is it based on experience? Is it based on experiential learning? Is it based on learning? Did you learn it from a book? Am I your first person that you're going to try it on, those are things you want to know. I want to give you an example of what I'm talking about when it comes to coaching and consulting in terms of having original content and context, right? One of the things I created was I call it the ECHO framework. The ECHO framework is the foundation of all of the activities and all of the different ways in which I empower the business owners that I work with. It's everything. Uh, Everything is based on this foundation of ECHO, ECCO. And I have a video about this on YouTube. I've done posts about this on LinkedIn as well. But ECHO is this framework. It's at the foundation of all that I do in my business to serve others, right? ECCO. ECHO, that version of it is the Italian word that means over here. My goal is for my clients to have an all eyes on you type of environment in your business uh, world. Okay, all eyes on you. ECCO, echo. The E stands for education. It's very important because sometimes the business owner is missing a piece of information that they really need so they can have a holistic understanding of a certain approach, a method, a strategy, or something, right? So they need that bit of information. And then once they have that, it begins to fill in that gap in that area and it makes their knowledge more concrete. Then it becomes something they can build on. It becomes a solid foundation. So education is a major piece of it. The first C is for coaching. Coaching is going to help you take the education you just got, or you gathered, or you filled in the gap with. It's going to help you implement that into your business. It's like a guide being there by your side to help you implement that. That's what the coaching part does. And the second C is for consulting. And that part brings together strategy, it brings together technique, it brings together your business goals, it brings all of that together to create an outcome that you desire, right? So that's the consulting piece of it. It's bringing it all together, right? The education, the coaching, all of that is coming together to create the outcome and to accomplish the goal that you set out to do. And then when all three of those are working, education, coaching, consulting, what you end up getting is opportunity. That's what the O stands for. Opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. That's what you get from ECHO. And that's my goal. So in all that I do, what I post about, all of this is aiming to give you an echo effect, right? So that's going to conclude today's session. These sessions initially will be anywhere from 30 to 40 something minutes. Eventually, I'll start having guests. So I'm looking for guests who have developed mastery in a certain area. And I would love to chat with them about that. And that's going to give you insights on how this mastery can be developed over time. Different people have different approaches, right? So we can all end up in the same spot, but how we got there, that's the story that I want to be able to bring you and share with you how people ended up with their mastery at that level. It's very compelling and exciting, and it gives you insight, and that helps to build new perspectives. And when you get new perspectives, that helps to create new neuron pathways in your brain, and that helps you to be able to change. It helps you be able to grow and excel at whatever it is you do in your business and life. So before I go, I just want to thank you for being here today. I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes. One of my favorite quotes. It's by Swiss Beats. He's married to Alicia Keys. And the quote goes like this: "The sky is not the limit, it's only the view." Let that resonate. The sky is not the limit, it's only the view. Take care, and until next time, I'm Tracy Malone, your business consultant and the proud host of Scale Your Mastery podcast. See you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care.